Every single one of us wakes up each day with the same 24 hours, yet some people seem to get more out of those hours than others. They achieve more, feel better, grow stronger, and live with a sense of purpose that inspires everyone around them. What makes the difference? It's not luck, and it's not talent alone. The difference lies in the habits we choose to control. Because when we control our habits, we control the direction of our lives. Think about this: your future isn't built in one big leap. It's built in the small, invisible actions you repeat daily. And if we learn to control just 4 powerful habits, we can completely change the trajectory of our lives. The first habit is the way we use our time. Time is the most valuable resource we'll ever have, yet it's the one we waste the most. Every moment you give to distractions, to endless scrolling, to meaningless business is a moment taken away from building the life you want. If you want your life to change, take command of your schedule. Be intentional. Every hour should serve your growth, your relationships, or your mission. When you master your time, you master your life. The second habit is the way we speak to ourselves. Our inner dialogue is either our greatest weapon or our biggest enemy. If your mind is filled with doubt, negativity, or fear, you will sabotage your own progress before the world even has the chance to challenge you. But if you choose words of courage, possibility, and belief, you begin to build the mindset that carries you through every difficulty. What you whisper to yourself in silence shapes the life you live in the open. The third habit is the way we respond to discomfort. Most people run from pain. They avoid challenges. They choose comfort over growth. But comfort never changes you. It is only in discomfort, in the difficult conversations, the tough workouts, the moments of failure, that real growth happens. If you can teach yourself to lean into discomfort instead of running from it, you unlock a level of resilience and strength you never knew you had. The fourth habit is the way we treat others. No one changes the world alone. No one even builds a meaningful life alone. Relationships, trust, and kindness are the foundation of every great achievement. When you treat people with respect, when you lead with empathy, when you serve rather than demand, you create opportunities, partnerships, and loyalty that money can't buy. Success is never just about what you achieve. It's about how many people rise with you. Control these 4 habits, and your life will begin to transform. Not overnight, but steadily. Not loudly, but powerfully. Because when you master your time, your self-talk, your response to discomfort, and your treatment of others, you stop drifting through life, you start driving it. And the best part, every single one of us can start today. 5 keynotes of the speech: master your time. Every hour should serve your growth, relationships, or mission. Control your self-talk. What you say to yourself shapes your reality. Embrace discomfort. Growth lives outside the comfort zone. Lead with empathy and respect. Strong relationships fuel lasting success. Small daily habits, once controlled, have the power to completely transform life direction. Mastering your time is not just about organizing your day. It is about organizing your life. Time is the one resource that is equally distributed to all of us. Whether you are a student, an entrepreneur, a parent, or a leader, you wake up every day with 24 hours at your disposal. The wealthiest people in the world have 24 hours, and so do the people struggling the most. The difference is not the hours available, but how those hours are invested. Most of us lose time without realizing it. We drift through the day, reacting to situations, scrolling through distractions, and hoping that tomorrow will be more productive than today. But tomorrow will not change until today is handled differently. Mastering your time begins with a deep awareness of where your hours go and a deliberate choice to redirect them toward what truly matters. Every moment you spend has a cost. If you spend 30 minutes scrolling through social media, that is 30 minutes not invested in learning, exercising, creating, or building relationships. If you spend an hour procrastinating, that is an hour stolen from your goals and dreams. The reality is that we are not just spending time, we are trading pieces of our lives. When you begin to think of time as life itself, your choices change. Suddenly, that hour wasted is no longer harmless. It is part of your potential, gone forever. That shift in perspective is the first step in mastering time. It is not enough to simply cut out distractions. True mastery of time comes from aligning your hours with your values and vision. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? What impact do I want to leave? Then look at your daily schedule. Do your hours reflect your vision? If you dream of building a successful career, but spend most evenings watching television, your habits are not aligned with your desires. If you want to be healthier, but do not carve out time for exercise or rest, your schedule is betraying your intentions. Your calendar should be a mirror of your values. The clearer you are about your goals, the easier it becomes to make decisions about your time. Another element of mastering time is understanding that not all hours are created equal. There are hours in the day when your energy, focus, and creativity are at their peak. For some people, it is early in the morning. For others, it may be late at night. These golden hours should be protected and invested in your most important work. Too often, people waste their sharpest energy responding to emails, browsing online, or doing tasks that require little focus. By the time they turn to meaningful work, their energy is already drained. To master time, you must place your highest priorities in your highest energy hours. That is how progress accelerates. At the same time, mastering time is not about cramming your day with endless tasks. It is not a competition to see how busy you can be. Business is not productivity. True productivity means doing the right things, not just more things. It means saying no to the unimportant so you can say yes to the essential. It means recognizing that every time you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to something else. If you say yes to an unnecessary meeting, you are saying no to time with your family. If you say yes to another episode of a show, you are saying no to progress on your goals. Each choice has a cost, and mastering time is about choosing wisely. Another important aspect is building rituals and routines that remove decision fatigue. If you spend energy each day deciding when to work, when to eat, when to rest, you are already draining mental resources. High achievers build structured routines that lock in their priorities automatically. A morning routine that includes exercise, planning, and learning eliminates the question of whether you will do those things. It becomes automatic. A set bedtime ensures you protect your rest. Routines free your mind from trivial decisions and create space for focus on what matters most. Equally important is leaving space in your schedule for rest and reflection. Mastery of time does not mean working without pause. In fact, burnout is a sign of poor time management. The most effective people are not the ones who work the longest, but the ones who manage their energy wisely. They understand that breaks, sleep, and leisure are not wasted time, but investments in long-term performance. A tired mind produces mediocre work. A rested mind produces excellence. Finally, to master time, you must become intentional about presence. It is possible to give hours to something without truly being there. How often do we sit with family but check our phones, or attend a meeting but let our minds wander? Mastery of time is not just about scheduling your hours, but about filling those hours with attention and purpose. 10 minutes of fully present conversation with a loved one is worth more than an hour of distracted talk. One focused hour of work can accomplish more than 3 unfocused ones. Presence multiplies the value of your time. Mastering your time is mastering your life. It requires awareness, discipline, and courage to say no when necessary. It requires aligning your schedule with your values, protecting your golden hours, and living with presence. When you take command of your time, you stop being a passenger in life and start becoming the driver. Time, once wasted, never returns, but time mastered creates a future worth living. The way we speak to ourselves has more influence over our lives than almost anything else. Long before the world challenges us, long before circumstances test us, it is our own inner voice that sets the tone for how we respond. Every thought we repeat, every phrase we whisper silently in our minds becomes the lens through which we see ourselves in the world. Some people wake up each morning already defeated, not because of reality, but because of the story they keep telling themselves. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, or criticism, you begin the day at a disadvantage. But if your self-talk is grounded in belief, encouragement, and resilience, you step into each challenge with strength. Controlling your self-talk is not about lying to yourself or ignoring reality. It is about building a mindset that gives you the power to face reality and shape it. What you say to yourself matters because your brain listens to every word. When you constantly repeat phrases like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed, your brain accepts these as instructions and begins to limit your actions. You stop trying, you lower your standards, you shrink your vision of what is possible. On the other hand, when you affirm, I am capable, I will learn, or I can handle this, your brain looks for ways to make those statements true. The words you choose shape your identity, and your identity shapes your behavior. Over time, the things you repeatedly tell yourself become the reality you live in. Many of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. If a friend made a mistake, you would encourage them, tell them it's okay, and remind them of their strengths. But when you make a mistake, your inner voice might be cruel and unforgiving, calling you a failure or reminding you of every shortcoming. The problem is that this constant negative self-talk erodes confidence and kills motivation. To control it, you must learn to treat yourself with the same compassion and patience you would give someone you love. Self-talk should not tear you down, it should build you up. That doesn't mean ignoring your weaknesses, but it means addressing them with constructive words instead of destructive ones. Another layer of self-talk is how we speak about challenges and failures. Most people view failure as evidence of inadequacy, but those who control their inner dialogue see failure as feedback. Instead of saying, I failed, so I am not good enough, they say, I failed, so I learned something I didn't know before. That one shift changes everything. When you see failure as final, you stop moving. When you see it as a step in progress, you keep going. The stories you tell yourself about failure will determine whether you stagnate or grow. Controlling self-talk also requires awareness of the subtle language we use daily. Phrases like, I have to carry a sense of burden and obligation, while phrases like, I get to carry a sense of gratitude and opportunity. Think of the difference between saying, I have to go to work versus I get to go to work. One feels heavy, the other feels empowering. By shifting your words, you shift your perspective. Your self-talk is not just about affirmations in the mirror, it is about every small phrase you use throughout the day. Those phrases add up and create your mental environment. There is also a connection between self-talk and resilience. Life will always present obstacles, stress, and uncertainty. People who control their inner voice are better able to remain calm and composed in those moments. When adversity comes, they do not say, this is impossible. They say, this is tough, but I will find a way. That difference in language determines whether you spiral into panic or rise into problem solving. The world outside may be chaotic, but your inner dialogue can be the anchor that keeps you steady. It is important to remember that self-talk is not about constant positivity or pretending everything is perfect. It is about truth told in a way that empowers rather than weakens. If you are struggling, honest self-talk acknowledges the struggle while reminding you of your ability to overcome it. Saying, "This is hard, but I am stronger than I think," is not blind optimism. It is grounded resilience. It is choosing a perspective that fuels courage rather than fear. Controlling your self-talk also means being intentional about the inputs you allow into your mind. The content you consume, the people you listen to, and the environments you place yourself in all feed your inner dialogue. If you surround yourself with negativity, criticism, and hopelessness, it will echo inside you. But if you surround yourself with encouragement, wisdom, and growth, your inner voice will begin to reflect those influences. The mind is like a sponge. It absorbs what is surrounded by. By controlling your inputs, you indirectly shape your self-talk. Finally, self-talk becomes powerful when it is consistent. Saying a positive phrase once does not change much, but repeating empowering words daily, especially in moments of doubt, rewires your brain over time. Science shows that consistent affirmations can reshape neural pathways, making confidence and resilience your default mode of thinking. This is why habits like journaling, affirmations, or even quiet moments of reflection can be transformative. They train your inner voice to become a source of strength rather than sabotage. The way you speak to yourself is the foundation of how you live your life. Before anyone else believes in you, you must believe in yourself. Before anyone else encourages you, you must encourage yourself. Before the world validates you, you must validate yourself. When you control your self-talk, you control the filter through which you experience everything else. Your words become your reality, and when you choose words of courage, hope, and determination, you choose a reality where growth and success are possible. The way we respond to discomfort often decides the kind of life we live. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid it, running toward what feels safe, easy, or familiar. Yet every breakthrough in human history and every moment of personal growth has been born out of discomfort. Discomfort is the space where change happens. It is where strength is built, where resilience is forged, and where we discover what we are truly capable of. But because it feels unpleasant, we resist it. We choose shortcuts, distractions, and excuses. The irony is that in our attempt to avoid discomfort, we often end up creating more of it through regret, missed opportunities, and unrealized potential. Learning to control the way you respond to discomfort is one of the most powerful habits you can ever develop because it changes the way you approach growth itself. Discomfort shows up in many forms. It could be the physical strain of pushing your body beyond its limits in a workout. It could be the emotional tension of having a difficult conversation you have avoided for too long. It could be the mental fatigue of learning a new skill that seems impossible at first. Whatever shape it takes, discomfort carries a message you are stretching beyond your current capacity. Most people misinterpret that message as a warning to stop, but in reality, it is often an invitation to grow. When you feel that resistance, it means you are on the edge of progress. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not the ones who never feel discomfort. They are the ones who learn to embrace it and keep moving forward in spite of it. Think about some of the greatest achievements in life. Athletes who break records endure years of painful training that most people would never choose. Entrepreneurs who build companies endure endless rejections, failures, and uncertainty. Artists, leaders, and innovators put themselves in vulnerable positions, exposing their work and ideas to criticism. None of this feels comfortable, but it is precisely because they stepped into discomfort that they grew stronger and succeeded. Comfort zones are safe, but nothing remarkable is built within them. Growth requires friction, and friction requires the willingness to face pain and uncertainty without running away. The way you frame discomfort in your mind makes all the difference. If you see it as a threat, you will retreat. If you see it as a teacher, you will lean in. Discomfort teaches patience because progress rarely comes instantly. It teaches humility because it reveals how much you still have to learn. It teaches resilience because it forces you to keep moving even when every part of you wants to quit. Instead of seeing discomfort as punishment, it helps to see it as training. Every challenge you endure is a form of preparation, making you stronger for the next challenge ahead. What feels unbearable today often becomes the very thing that empowers you tomorrow. One of the greatest dangers of avoiding discomfort is that it makes you fragile. A life built entirely around ease leaves you unprepared for inevitable hardships. When adversity comes, as it always does, you will not have the resilience to handle it. But when you practice facing discomfort regularly, you build a kind of mental and emotional armor. You learn that pain is temporary, that fear is survivable, and that struggle is not the end of the story. Each time you face discomfort, you expand your capacity to endure more, and your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself more deeply because you know you can handle what life throws at you. It is also important to recognize that discomfort is not the same as danger. Our brains often confuse the two. Discomfort says, this is unfamiliar. Danger says, this could harm you. Too many people live as though every uncomfortable situation is dangerous, and so they retreat into the false safety of their comfort zones. But most of the things that scare us are not life-threatening. Speaking in public, asking for help, trying something new, these may feel terrifying, but they are not dangerous. They are opportunities in disguise, and the only way to seize them is to accept the discomfort that comes with them. Controlling your response to discomfort is not about pretending you enjoy it. It is about developing the discipline to act in spite of it. It means recognizing that the temporary pain of discipline is far lighter than the long-term pain of regret. It means choosing to lift the heavy weight today so that tomorrow you are stronger. It means having the hard conversation today so that tomorrow your relationship is healthier. It means enduring the uncertainty of learning today so that tomorrow you are more capable. Discomfort is never pleasant in the moment, but is always worth it in the long run. The truth is that growth and discomfort are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. Every time you set a higher goal, every time you demand more from yourself, every time you push toward a new level, discomfort will greet you at the door. The choice is whether you see it as an enemy to avoid or as a partner in your progress. The ones who embrace it move forward. The ones who avoid it remain stuck where they are. By controlling the way you respond to discomfort, by leaning in rather than running away, you give yourself permission to grow into the person you were meant to be. The way we treat others defines the quality of our lives in ways we often underestimate. Success, fulfillment, and even happiness are not built in isolation. They are deeply connected to the relationships we nurture and the trust we build along the way. Every interaction we have, no matter how small, leaves a mark. A kind word, a patient response, or a moment of genuine attention can open doors that skills alone never could. On the other hand, disrespect, selfishness, or indifference can close opportunities forever. The truth is that people will rarely remember the details of what you achieved, but they will always remember how you made them feel. When you learn to treat others with empathy, respect, and dignity, you create an environment where growth, collaboration, and loyalty flourish. Treating others well does not mean avoiding honesty or pretending everything is fine. It means leading with understanding rather than judgment, with curiosity rather than assumption. Every person you meet carries their own struggles, their own hopes, and their own battles you may never see. By responding with empathy, you acknowledge their humanity. That acknowledgement alone can transform relationships. When people feel understood and valued, they respond with trust and openness. They are more willing to support you, to collaborate, and to give their best. In contrast, when people feel dismissed or disrespected, they shut down. No amount of authority or force can replace the power of genuine respect. One of the greatest mistakes many people make is to treat relationships as transactional. They give only when they expect something in return. But real influence and lasting success are built on generosity. When you help someone not because of what you can get back, but because it is the right thing to do, you plant seeds of trust that grow in unexpected ways. Opportunities often come not from contracts or deals, but from goodwill built over time. People remember those who lifted them up, who gave without conditions, and who stood by them in difficult moments. Those acts of service build reputations that no title or achievement can match. In leadership, the way you treat others becomes even more powerful. A leader who demands respect through fear may achieve obedience in the short term, but it never lasts. People may follow orders, but they will not give their hearts. A leader who leads with empathy, who listens, and who values the people around them inspires loyalty. Loyalty cannot be bought. It must be earned through consistent actions that prove you care about more than just results. When people know they matter, they give more, they believe more, and they achieve more. The same principle applies in personal relationships. Families, friendships, and partnerships thrive not because of grand gestures, but because of consistent small acts of kindness and respect. Saying thank you, listening without distraction, showing patience in moments of frustration. These may seem insignificant, but they build the foundation of trust and love. Disrespect, on the other hand, slowly erodes the strongest bonds. A careless word, repeated enough times, can wound more deeply than a major mistake. To treat others well means to be intentional with your words and actions, knowing they carry weight. Another important aspect of how we treat others is the example it sets. The way you speak to a stranger, the way you handle disagreement, the way you react when someone makes a mistake, all of these moments are observed by others, sometimes silently. If you treat people with respect, you inspire others to do the same. Kindness creates ripples that extend far beyond the initial moment. One act of patience or compassion can influence someone else to act similarly, creating a chain of positive impact you may never fully see. In this sense, the way you treat others is not only about you and them, it is about the culture you contribute to in the world around you. There will always be moments when treating others well feels difficult. Maybe someone disrespects you first, maybe they disappoint you, or maybe they seem ungrateful for your effort. In those moments, it is tempting to mirror their behavior. But the true test of character is how you respond when it would be easier not to. Treating others with respect is not about their behavior, it is about your standard. You set the tone for how you show up, regardless of how others act. That consistency builds integrity, and integrity builds trust over time. The way you treat others also affects how you see yourself. When you act with kindness, when you lead with respect, you reinforce your own sense of worth and purpose. You begin to see yourself as someone who contributes positively, someone who builds rather than tears down. That self-image shapes your confidence and your character. On the other hand, when you treat people poorly, even if you gain something temporarily, it leaves a mark on your conscience. Over time, those choices erode your self-respect, and without self-respect, true success feels empty. Every interaction is a choice. You can choose to dismiss, ignore, or belittle, or you can choose to listen, honor, and uplift. The more you choose the latter, the more your life fills with meaningful connections and opportunities that no strategy alone could provide. The way you treat others is not a minor detail. It is a core habit that determines the depth of your relationships, the strength of your leadership, and the legacy you leave behind. Small daily habits are the silent architects of our lives. They rarely feel dramatic in the moment, and often they seem too insignificant to matter. Reading for 10 minutes, choosing water instead of soda, writing down a thought of gratitude, or spending 5 minutes in reflection. These are not the kinds of actions that feel life-changing right away. But habits compound. What begins as a small choice, repeated consistently, turns into a pattern, and patterns eventually shape identity. The truth is that we do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our habits. Controlling small daily habits means controlling the very foundation upon which your future is built. One of the greatest misconceptions about change is that it requires massive action all at once. People imagine they need to wake up tomorrow and completely overhaul their lives, new routines, new diets, new goals, new everything. But overwhelming change often collapses under its own weight. What truly transforms a life is the quiet, steady repetition of small habits. Just as a river shapes rock not through force but through persistence, your habits shape your future through repetition. A single workout will not change your body, but a year of consistent exercise will. A single day of saving money will not build wealth, but years of disciplined saving and investing will. Habits are small hinges that swing open massive doors. The danger lies in underestimating both the positive and negative power of small habits. Missing one day at the gym feels harmless, but missing one day too many creates a pattern of quitting. Eating one unhealthy meal does not matter much, but repeating it daily sets the stage for long-term consequences. Likewise, reading a page or two from a book may seem unimportant, but over time it builds knowledge that compounds into wisdom. Writing a few sentences in a journal may feel trivial, but months later it becomes a map of your growth. The habits you choose, whether helpful or harmful, quietly create the person you are becoming. Every action is a vote for the type of person you will be tomorrow. Controlling habits requires awareness first. Many of our routines are invisible to us. We wake up, reach for our phones, scroll without thinking, and move through the day on autopilot. To gain control, we must bring these patterns into the light. Once you see them clearly, you can decide whether they are serving you or sabotaging you. Awareness turns unconscious repetition into intentional choice. And with choice comes power, the power to replace destructive habits with constructive ones. The beauty of small habits is that they lower the barrier to entry. They do not demand perfection, they demand consistency. If you want to become a writer, commit to writing 1 paragraph a day. If you want to get fit, commit to moving your body for 10 minutes daily. If you want to grow your mind, commit to reading 1 page. Small habits are achievable, and because they are achievable, they build momentum. Momentum fuels motivation, and motivation makes bigger actions possible. By starting small, you create a chain reaction that can lead to monumental change. Another key aspect of habits is that they shape identity more than outcomes. The act of running every morning, even if just for a few minutes, reinforces the identity of being a runner. The act of reading daily reinforces the identity of being a learner. Once an identity forms, behavior follows naturally. You no longer have to push yourself as hard because the action feels like a part of who you are. This is why controlling habits is more powerful than setting goals. Goals point to a destination, but habits build the road that gets you there. It is also important to recognize that habits are not isolated, they are connected. One positive habit often triggers another. Exercising regularly may lead you to eat healthier, which improves your sleep, which boosts your focus, which enhances your work. In the same way, one negative habit can pull others down with it. Staying up late on your phone can lead to poor sleep, which creates low energy, which makes you skip workouts, which fuels stress. Controlling habits means understanding this chain effect and intentionally setting patterns that reinforce each other positively rather than negatively. Habits also thrive in the right environment. Your surroundings often determine whether your habits succeed or fail. If you want to read more, place a book by your better desk. If you want to eat healthier, keep nutritious food in sight and remove temptations from reach. If you want to use your phone less, keep it out of your immediate space during focus time. By shaping your environment, you make good habits easier and bad habits harder. Willpower alone is often not enough, but when the environment is aligned with your intentions, habits become almost automatic. What makes habits truly transformative is the compound effect over time. At first, the progress is invisible. You might not notice the impact of saving a little money, learning a few new words, or meditating for a few minutes, but over months and years, the results become undeniable. Small habits compound into significant outcomes, and the life you live tomorrow will be the result of the habits you practice today. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is bridged by the habits you choose to control. By mastering small daily habits, you take control of the trajectory of your life. You no longer rely on bursts of motivation or sudden dramatic change. You rely on systems, patterns, and repetition. Change becomes sustainable, growth becomes inevitable, and success becomes a natural byproduct of the person you are consistently becoming. Habits may be small, but their power is immense, and once you control them, you gain control over the direction of your entire future. When we look at life, It is easy to believe that transformation comes from one giant leap, one extraordinary opportunity, or one stroke of luck. But real change is built quietly, piece by piece, in the choices we make every single day. By learning to master our time, we take control of the hours that shape our future. By mastering the way we speak to ourselves, we build the mindset that either lifts us up or tears us down. By learning to lean into discomfort, we unlock resilience and discover strengths we never knew we had. By treating others with respect and empathy, we build trust, loyalty, and connections that carry us further than we could ever go alone. And by mastering small daily habits, we set in motion the compound effect that transforms who we are and what we can achieve. Each of these 4 habits, supported by the consistency of the 5th, does not just improve one part of life, they change the whole trajectory of it. Together, they form the foundation of growth, fulfillment, and purpose. The question is not whether these habits work, but whether you will choose to control them before they control you. The power to change your life is already in your hands, hidden in the hours you spend, the words you repeat, the struggles you face, the people you impact, and the habits you practice. Control them with intention, and you will not just change your days, you will change your life forever.